Hello students. So now we are going to discuss change of states of matter. So we know that there are three states of matter: solid, liquid and gases, and these particular states can be changed or interchanged by adjusting the pressure and by adjusting the temperature. First, let's discuss the effect of changing pressure or adjusting pressure. We already know that by applying huge amount of pressure, gases can be converted into liquid, just like LPG or liquefied petroleum gas. But by applying huge pressure, gases can be converted into solid as well. For example, I believe you have heard of dry ice. So dry ice is essentially solidified carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is a gas, and when carbon dioxide is converted into solid by applying huge amount of pressure, this gas, carbon dioxide, is converted into a solid carbon dioxide, and this solid carbon dioxide is called dry ice. So this dry ice is an example of gases converted into solid, and LPG is an example of gases converted into liquid. The next method to change states of matter is by changing the temperature. Correct? So by changing the temperature also we can change the states of matter. So what happens when we increase the temperature? So for example, we have a solid. Let's take we have ice here. So here in ice, since ice is in the solid form, the water molecules are closely packed with each other. The water molecules are closely packed with each other. Now we are increasing the pressure. We are increasing the temperature. Increasing temperature means we are providing heat, more heat energy. So with increasing temperature or with increasing heat energy, these molecules of water, they begin to get more kinetic energy. That means the kinetic energy of the water molecules, it increases. So with increasing temperature or with increasing heat, the kinetic energy also increases. Now these water molecules or the particles have higher energy, more kinetic energy, and they will start to vibrate. And they will try to move. They will try to travel. They will try to move away from each other. So we are providing more and more heat, and these particles are also getting more and more energy. So ultimately a stage will come in which these particles, they will not remain close to each other, and they will run away or move away from each other. They will move away from each other. So ultimately this ice will be converted into liquid water. It will be converted into liquid water. Correct? Now if you see, the particles are no longer in their fixed position, but now they are free from their fixed position, and now they can move in different direction. So this is the liquid state where the molecules are away from each other. In solid they are closely packed, they were very close to each other, but in liquid they are far from each other. Now look here. So we had a piece of ice. So let's assume that this ice was in the temperature minus 10 degrees Celsius. Correct? We are providing continuous heat to this piece of ice. We are increasing the temperature means we are providing heat. Correct? Now when we provide heat, this temperature, which was in minus 10 degrees Celsius, it will continue to rise. From minus 10, it will first come to minus 9, then minus 8, then minus 7, then minus 6, and ultimately it will come to 0 degrees Celsius. So 0 degrees Celsius is the temperature at which these particles of water, which were closely packed, which were close to each other, will move away from each other. That means now the water particles, they are no longer closer to each other. They will move away from each other. So this ice, it will essentially be converted into liquid. So this temperature, 0 degrees Celsius, will be called melting point. So melting point is the temperature at which a solid substance converts into liquid at atmospheric pressure. Always remember, the pressure will be taken as 1 atm or 1 atmospheric pressure. We are not changing the pressure, the pressure will remain same, which is 1 atm. So the definition of melting point will be the temperature at which a solid substance converts into liquid under atmospheric pressure. So this is the melting point, correct? Now there is one important concept which you have to understand, is latent heat. It is latent heat. So what is latent heat? To explain latent heat, I have drawn this diagram, and there is an activity in your book which is activity 1.12. So first try to understand what the setup is. So we have a stand here. Under the stand we have a burner. Here above the burner we have a net, and above the net we have the beaker. Inside the beaker we have some pieces of ice, and here we have a thermometer, and this thermometer is to measure the temperature. So this is the thermometer, and this thermometer is to measure the temperature. So if there is any change in temperature, this thermometer will record. So anyway, you have activity 1.12 in your book. So if you wish, you can go through the activity. But here I am explaining this activity in order to make you understand what is latent heat. So here if you see, this is the overall setup. Now what we are doing here. So this is a piece of ice. So let's assume that this piece of ice is at a temperature of minus 5 degrees Celsius. So this thermometer will record the temperature as minus 5 degrees Celsius, correct? So as soon as you start burning this burner, as you start burning the burner, it will rise the temperature because it will provide heat, some energy, so the temperature will shortly increase. So from minus 5 it will be minus 4, then minus 3, then minus 2 degrees Celsius, then minus 1 degree Celsius, and then ultimately it will be 0 degree Celsius. So the thermometer will record the temperature from 5 degrees, minus 5 degrees Celsius to 0 degree Celsius. So as I already told you, the 0 degree Celsius is the melting point of ice. You all know that ice, the melting point for ice is 0 degree Celsius. So as soon as the temperature here is recorded as 0 degree Celsius, this ice will be converted into what? This ice will be converted into water. This ice will be converted into water, correct? So let's assume that this piece of ice which is at the bottom starts to melt first. So one piece of ice is melt. So this piece of ice is totally converted into water. Now the remaining piece of ice will start to convert into water. So there is one important observation you will make, is that this temperature at 0 degrees Celsius will not rise no matter how much heat you provide, but this temperature at 0 degrees Celsius will remain fixed until and unless all the ice here is converted into water. That means from 0 degrees Celsius, we think that the temperature should increase to 1 degree Celsius, then 2 degrees Celsius, then 3 degrees Celsius. Like this, the temperature should increase. But what is happening? The temperature is not increasing. The temperature is fixed at 0 degrees Celsius. But at the same time, we are providing more and more heat here in the form of flame. Correct? We are providing heat, but this heat is not able to change the temperature. Correct? So this temperature is fixed. So why the temperature is not increasing? Because the heat that you are supplying or we are supplying is actually used to convert the ice into water. That means that extra heat is used to convert the physical state of water. What physical state? Solid to liquid. Correct? That means the extra heat or the heat that we are providing even after reaching 0 degrees Celsius, it is not used to increase the temperature, but that heat is used to change the physical state of water. That means that particular heat that we have supplied is somewhere missing. It is hiding somewhere. Therefore, we have used the word latent. Latent means hidden. Latent means hidden. So this is hidden heat, and this hidden heat is actually not showing anywhere. Actually, the latent heat or the heat should have increased the temperature, but no, this is not happening. The temperature is not rising. That means the heat is hidden somewhere. That is why we have used latent heat, and that hidden heat is used to change the physical state of water from solid to liquid. This is called latent heat. So we have different types of latent heat. We have latent heat of fusion, we have latent heat of vaporization, like this. So latent heat of fusion, in this case, fusion or melting or fusion have same meaning. So this example where we have taken ice is an example of latent heat, but this is latent heat of fusion. So more precisely, this is latent heat of fusion. Okay, so now we have understand what is latent heat and more precisely latent heat of fusion. But we need some scientific definition. What is latent heat of fusion? So we need some scientific description. So the scientific description will be the amount of heat which is required to change 1 kg of solid into liquid at atmospheric pressure is called latent heat of fusion. So this is the scientific definition that we need, which is the amount of heat which is required to change 1 kg of solid into liquid at atmospheric pressure is called latent heat of fusion. So this is the definition. However, we can make a small change here and we can add one more term. So let us change and modify this. The amount of heat which is required to change 1 kg of solid into liquid at atmospheric pressure at its melting point. At its melting point is called latent heat of fusion. Okay. So now our definition is complete. The amount of heat which is required to change 1 kg of solid into liquid at atmospheric pressure at its melting point is called latent heat of fusion. Correct? Okay. Now I have a question for you. The question is out of water and ice at 0 degrees Celsius, which is more effective in cooling? This is the question. Water and ice at 0 degrees Celsius, which is more effective in cooling? Out of water and ice. Correct? So in order to answer this question, you need to understand latent heat of fusion very nicely. Okay? So the answer of this question is ice is more effective in cooling. But the question is why ice is more effective? Correct? Because water and ice, say, both are at 0 degrees Celsius. Still, why ice is more effective compared to water? The answer is, correct? The answer is, if you see, in water it is already in liquid state, but in ice water is in the solid state. That means in case of ice, the ice will need extra latent heat of fusion to convert into water. That means what is the meaning of cooling? Cooling means it will absorb the heat from the surrounding. In case of water cannot absorb more heat because water is already in the liquid state, even if it is at 0 degrees Celsius. But in case of ice, the ice first it will convert into liquid, and in the process of conversion of ice into liquid, it will take up some extra heat from the surrounding in the form of latent heat of fusion. So ice at 0 degrees Celsius will be more effective in cooling compared to water. I hope you understand this. So next type of latent heat that we have to discuss is latent heat of vaporization. So to explain latent heat of vaporization, we have a similar setup like the earlier one. So here, see, we have a stand. Under the stand we have a burner, and here we have a net, and above the net we have a beaker. And this beaker is filled with water, and there is a thermometer submerged. And this thermometer will measure any change in temperature. Correct? So this is the thermometer, and this is water, and this thermometer will record any change in temperature. Correct? Now we will try to change the physical state of this water from liquid into gas or into vapor. So our aim is to change this water into vapor. Correct? Now you all know that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Let's assume that this water was initially at room temperature, which is 30 degrees Celsius. Correct? So initially the thermometer will record a temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. So as soon as you start with burner, it will provide heat, and the temperature will slowly increase. First 40 degrees Celsius, then 50 degrees Celsius. Ultimately it will reach to 100 degrees Celsius. Okay? Now, like the earlier, we would expect that after 100 degrees Celsius, we would see a rise to 110 degrees Celsius. But this does not happen. The temperature remains at 100 degrees Celsius no matter how much you burn the burner, how much you provide heat. Correct? But the question is, why the temperature remains at 100 degrees Celsius? Now if you see that as soon as this temperature reaches to 100 degrees Celsius, some of the water from this beaker will change into vapor. Correct? That means the conversion of liquid to vapor starts as soon as 100 degrees Celsius is reached. But this temperature will never rise as long as all the water present in the beaker is converted into vapor. That means until the last drop of water is present here, the temperature will remain fixed at 100 degrees Celsius. That means the heat that we are providing after reaching the temperature to 100 degrees Celsius, where the heat is going, the heat is hidden. The heat is hidden. Like the earlier example or like the earlier case, here also the heat that we are supplying even after reaching 100 degrees Celsius is somewhere lost. It is somewhere hidden. And this extra heat which we are providing is used to change the physical state of water from liquid to gas. That means the heat that we are providing, it cannot increase the temperature beyond 100 degrees Celsius, but this heat will use up to change the physical state of water from liquid to vapor. So that is why I have a question: which will give you severe burn, water at 100 degrees Celsius or vapor at 100 degrees Celsius? Which one? Which one will give you severe burn, water at 100 degrees Celsius or vapor at 100 degrees Celsius? The answer is vapor at 100 degrees Celsius will give us severe burn, because you know this vapor contains latent heat of vaporization, and this latent heat of vaporization was actually that heat which was used to convert the liquid water into gas. So since this vapor contains this extra amount of heat, so vapor gives us severe burning. I hope you understand this one.